In progress.
Yeah. And the political heads from Free State and Northwest, if they are in the meeting. And good evening to the officials from DBE provinces, Northwest and Free State. And let me greet the members of the committee that are in the meeting and everybody that has joined us. I understand many members should be really tired now. Since morning, there have been meetings and there have been plenaries. But it's unfortunately we must also have this this meeting as well, which is the last meeting that we are having at this time. We will go back from next week to our normal schedule. Can you help us with flighting the agenda, Evelyn? Thank you very much. We have done the apologies, so we are now having a briefing on an updated status report on the implementation of portfolio committee recommendation on an oversight visit to the Northwest and Free State, which happened in January this year. And then after that, we are going to consider and adopt the minutes of the previous meetings. Members, that's the agenda. Can I get anybody to move?
Modula Stulo, Roni, I rise to move that this agenda be accepted as a guideline for today's meeting.
Thank you very much, Siyabonga Principal. Any seconder?
Chairperson, I second.
Thank you very much to another principal. Thank you very much, members, for that. DM, can I hand over to you then for a political overview?
Chairperson, thank you very much for this opportunity for the department and the two provinces to be invited to this meeting. So from the side of the department, I think we have a full delegation. The two MECs are in the meeting from both provinces, and the department is led by Dr. Sithole on behalf of DDG Kea. Acting DDG Sithole is the one that is leading the team basic education. They are all in the meeting. DDG infrastructure and all other senior managers are in the meeting. So same as provinces, I've seen that they are well represented, but MECs will be in a position to indicate their delegations. But as invited from the visits of the portfolio committee to the two provinces, and were requested to submit our own report and presentation on our response to those matters raised by the portfolio committee, which we are ready for both provinces, Chair. So I don't know in order of preference which province should start first. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, DM. I think one, we need to mention, DM, in the meeting that the Free State has submitted this morning their presentation, and for that reason, then we could not allow our researchers to go through the presentation. And we would, of course, I will allow the PC to discuss the matter, but it should be noted that the presentation of the Free State province was only it only landed to members this morning, which did not allow anybody actually sufficient time to go through it, let alone our researchers that are normally helping us to go deeper on the issues. So of course, I'm giving then to the members of the portfolio committee to discuss how do we then handle such a situation. Principal.
Chairperson, with due respect, I don't think it would be fair for us to say let the Free State adjudicate and advise on it. You see, it is this portfolio committee which identified some findings, and after identification of those findings, our expectation as per this meeting as a portfolio committee was that the two departments, Northwest and Free State, must showcase how they have responded to those findings. And surely the portfolio committee needed to come to this meeting fully prepared and having seen and appraised themselves for the response presentation to come this morning. I don't think we will be doing justice to members of the portfolio committee to say we are going to discuss and take positions on it. And hence, I wanted to come with an unpopular proposal. And then the proposal which says, why can't we say we will give another space to Free State, and instead today we concentrate on Northwest, which was able to make their submission quite well in time. I so humbly propose Muluda's to.
No, thank you very much, Principal. Any other member that wants to speak on this matter? Where are the members, Aziko? DM, I see your hand is up.
Yes, Chair, my hand is up. I think there was a bit of confusion here because Free State did submit to basic education, but did not, they submitted a report to basic education to feed some information. So they did not send to the portfolio committee like Northwest has done to respond on each and every item as raised by the portfolio committee. So Northwest submitted to the department and to the portfolio committee. Free State submitted only to the department, but which to me, I will say, was a skeleton still to be fed by department. They did not submit the report that is responding to each and every item. It was submitted on the 9th of May. So we expected them to submit again to the portfolio committee that is responding to those issues. So I think that there was that misunderstanding, maybe between DBE.
This report came this morning.
Yeah, there was this misunderstanding between DBE and Free State. That's why Free State now, they sent to the portfolio committee on today or last night. Like we also, the department also received it, the complete report last night. That is that thing that is creating like we are pulling apart, but we are not. It's just that they did send, of course, to be the basic education, but not the one that has been sent today. That if I try to summarize it. Thank you, Chair.
Rasuela?
Thank you, Chairperson. Well, indeed, it is true that when department or provinces are asked to provide a presentation, they should actually do that on time. I do hear what the Honorable DM is saying, but it is unfortunate that probably the delay was from the basic education. However, Chair, I am tempted to support Honorable Murat Setla to say that we probably need to give them enough time so that they send these things on time, so that we are in a position to read also ourselves, check these things against our reports and so on. And in that way, we will be doing justice to the work that is supposed to do. If we continue in this fashion, this will just be malicious compliance. And I don't think that will be necessary. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Rasuela. Llewellyn, when did we get the report of Free State?
Chairperson, we received a batch of three reports attachments from Free State this morning, Chairperson. I'm just trying to find my emails just to show when exactly it came. But I send them out as I received them from Free State, Chairperson.
No, it's fine.
The report came after 8:30 this morning.
I'm gonna give you, I see there is a end of the MEC Free State. I'm gonna give you just after the members have spoken on this matter to also probably give your own explanation. Honorable Yabo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I think the standard with which we function, especially where it regards the consideration of reports, is that we prefer to get the reports at least 3 or 2 days before, if it's delayed, before an actual meeting of the portfolio committee. And I feel that having received the report only this morning does not provide us with the adequate time to process the contents. And we run the risk of rushing through an unprocessed and thoroughly considered report. I would suggest that we be given adequate time to process the report before we can adopt or either make any recommendations on it, as I think that is reasonable an expectation from us as a committee. And therefore I would propose that, Chair, perhaps for this sitting, we not consider the report and reschedule it for another time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yabo. Can I then allow Dr. Tate? Oh,
no, thank you very much.
Your hand. Oh, okay.
No, that's fine, Chair. Thank you very much, Chair. And then, no, Chair, we will really want to apologize to the committee for the confusion. I think that there was a mistake that the report was really sent to the DBE, because in the past, when the Office of the HOD they've been dealing with submission through the HOT, and I think this time they made the same mistake. So as they were saying, they've sent the report, and the DM is right. It was sent on the 9th of May, but it was not sent to the portfolio committee. It was sent to DBE. So I think we understand that, and we'll be happy if we can be given another time, so that we can allow the members to go through the report, and then we'll be able to reply to questions that will emanate from the report. I think it's just fair, Chair, and we will actually abide by your ruling. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Honorable Notary, your hand is up.
Evening, Chair. No, I think, Chair, I've been captured by the previous members, because it's important that we receive these reports in time for us to do thorough research on what is on them, so that we are able to inform ourselves on how to proceed in terms of posing questions. I think I've been captured, and obviously the MEC have now responded, so I don't think there's a need for me to belabor the point.
Okay. Resuela, is it that legacy hand?
Yeah, sorry, Chair, it's the legacy hand.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine then. No, I think Uskulule MEC. I think you have DM, which means we must blame you, which means this report has been in the department and it was never sent to us till this morning. Mara, for that reason, because
I take the blame. I take the blame.
Yes, DM, it's your fault.
That's leadership.
Okay. Now, we are unfortunately then going to send Free State back. We'll probably see when Eastern Cape and KZN are coming, we can allow you a slot with them or any other slot that we see it possible to invite the province. So then we are only going to have a presentation from the Northwest Province. Is there something, Principal?
No, Chair, it was me. I was just saying that the full report was now sent to the committee secretary, Mr. Makanda or something. So I think the report has been sent now. So the members would have time to look at the report until we are actually called again, so that you don't have to send another report. I just want to clarify myself there.
It's sent to Mr. Brown.
To Mr. Mahada. Is it Mahada? This committee
Mr. Mahada is DBE.
Hey, you see
But
now.
if it's with Mr. Mahada, then it's fine.
Yeah.
We will get it.
All right.
Thank you very much, MEC. Thank you very much.
Chairperson, just to say, I have now received the presentation from Free State, which I had also sent out to members just prior to this meeting. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, Mr. Mahada.
Chair, I want that we don't get into problems. Honorable MEC, I did not receive the presentation. I assisted that we facilitate to have it submitted today.
Chair, can I come in? Mr. Mahada, I think the chair has closed the matter. Let's leave it at that. Let's not open any argument here. Let's just leave it at that. We have accepted the blame as basic education. In future, Chair, I promise, and I support the MEC for apologizing. We sincerely apologize to the committee. We don't look down upon the work of the committee, and we are always willing to work with the committee and to comply with all what the committee is expecting from us. So let's close the matter at that, Chair. Mr. Mahada, can you please leave the matter as is? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, TM Siawonga. MEC Northwest, can I hand over to you to lead your delegation?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And let me also acknowledge the following people in this meeting of the Portfolio Committee. Deputy Minister Mohaule, honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, the support staff from Parliament. We really appreciate, Honorable Chair, that we are appearing before the Portfolio Committee today to come and report on the issues that the committee have found during their oversight in the Northwest Province in January this year. And our report is showing the status and the implementation thereof. We are doing this in line with the priorities for the sector as basic education. And indeed, we are trying our best to implement these priorities through the medium-term strategic framework and also the MTF. In your meeting today, the meeting of the Portfolio Committee, I am with the acting administrator, Matthews. I am with the acting HOD, Dr. Mvula, and other directors and chief directors are from the Department of Education. So if you allow me, Chair, I would humbly request the administrator to say some few words and thereafter hand over to the HOD to make the presentation. Thank you so much.
Section 100.
Chairperson.
Your chair.
Of course, Chair. Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon, DM. I will not mention our secret code, DM. Good afternoon, MEC. Good afternoon, the parliamentary staff that is here. Oh, evening, by the way, it's evening, my apologies. Good afternoon to the colleagues from the DBE and the colleagues from the Northwest. Honorable Chair, just to save time, I think the MEC has done a beautiful short preamble on the presentation. We would wish to indicate, Chair, that we have covered all the schools that the Portfolio Committee visited the last time they were in the province. Would want to appreciate the lessons that we learned from the members of the Portfolio Committee during their visitation in the Northwest. We realigned our planning and delivery modes so that as part and parcel of that delivery, we're able to account to the Portfolio Committee on the matters that the Portfolio Committee has raised in the province. Some of the directives we got from the Portfolio Committee, I must indicate, Chair, are work in progress. We are interacting as the Portfolio Committee has directed us with the stakeholders that are critical within the province to the extent necessary, either in writing or we engage with them, and it's a continuous process. We did a follow-up to some of the schools that the Portfolio Committee had visited. At meetings, some were telephone interactions, some were virtual meetings, some were physical, especially at Kuputsa. You'll recall, Chair, you had implored me when we were doing the announcement of results that we prioritize on Kuputsa. We physically went there and tried to address the matters that were raised by the committee and other matters we actually found at the school. In some situations, of course, we had to read the Riot Act in terms of the prescription of the law, because we picked up at the school that was encroaching in the functions between the school management team and the school governing bodies. Of course, it's in relation to deficiencies on the part of the school governing bodies to execute their legal powers. May I then, having said so, Chairperson, request Dr. Mvula, who's the DDG responsible for districts, who's acting in the province because the HOD has taken leave, to present the response from the province. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Dr. M.
Thank you, sir. I was struggling to get the mic open. Good evening to you, Honorable Chair, Honorable members, Honorable Deputy Minister, Honorable MEC, Acting Administrator, colleagues from the Parliament, colleagues from the Department and Basic Education, and also from the province. I am going to then immediately start off the response, and we will start off Dr. Kenneth Kaunda district. There were several schools which were visited in the district. We have captured them in accordance with what was given to us by the honorable members, so that we can update the honorable house in terms of what has been done. The first one is the recommendation on the Northwest School for the Deaf. It is a school based in Leeudoringstad in Wolmaranstad area in the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda district. Now, we were to engage with the Department of Health to consider prospective doctors and therapists that can be placed at the special schools. That has already been done. The Department of Health has agreed with us that on a rotational visit, professionals will continue to visit the Northwest School for the Deaf, and they will continue to provide assistance to the learners at the school for the deaf, professional assistance, that is. And we are now busy with the filling in of vacant posts of professional staff, which have now been prioritized for the 2022-23 financial year. In terms of the recommendation number 2, we were to ensure that all vacant posts at the school be filled as a matter of urgency. We can update this honorable house that the post of the principal has now been duly filled through a transfer from one of our special schools, and the principal has already assumed duty. He is there, the school is enjoying his presence. In terms of the conversion of temporary educators to permanent substantive appointments, this has also been concluded. And then the process of filling the vacant posts of 1 deputy principal and the 3 departmental heads is currently underway. Our target is to be done by the end of May, so that on the 1st of June, those appointed can resume duties. In terms of recommendation 3 in this school, we were to consider building an extra sign language center for the school. We are indicating that a sign language laboratory has been set up and it's fully resourced to cater 14 learners at a time. And then for future purposes, and of course, with funding available, the more sign language laboratories will be set up to accommodate more learners so that they are exposed to their language laboratory. In terms of recommendation number 4, we are to ensure that in collaboration with the municipality, we ensure that the borehole was connected to the municipal water supply. And then we are saying that indeed the honorable members are politely reminded that basic education is a concurrent function between the national and the provincial spheres of government, and the local government is approached on functions that relate to their normal constitutional responsibilities, such as water connections and so on. So we continue to engage them and we continue to collaborate with the local municipality. And then the department would also like, the department, like all other national and provincial departments, as well as state organs, we were delayed in supply management processes due to the Constitutional Court hearing, which limited us to the 30,000 threshold in terms of procurement processes. And then this matter is obviously prioritized for the financial year 2022-23. And in terms of recommendation number 5, we were to ensure that outstanding textbooks be provided to the schools, to the school urgently. We are responding that the provisioning of outstanding learning and teaching support material is underway, and it should be noted that special schools in the province have been provided with the state-of-the-art assistive devices which are populated of the relevant TEPS LTSM. Then we move into the second school, honorable members. It is Makwasi Hills Secondary School. It's based in Wolmaranstad, also in Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. We were to review the building infrastructure, ensure that there was no more brick and mortar permanent structures. We just want to give a background here to indicate that this school is like a mobile school, because we initiated the school to try and bring down the demand for your English medium schools, which the population in that area was struggling to access in Klerksdorp and the neighboring towns. And as a result, we started the school in that way. But we are indicating that we have delivered 10 mobile classrooms in April 2022, and a project of brick and mortar classrooms will start in the second quarter of the current financial year. In terms of recommendation number 2, we are saying that we were to ensure that the school was provided with extra classrooms and toilets. And then we are saying that mobile classrooms have been ordered, and we are expecting deliveries from the service provider before the 30th of June 2022. That is to add on what already we have provided, and also to add on more of the facilities that are there. In terms of recommendation 3, we are to ensure that the school is assisted with the filling of posts of principal and 2 departmental heads. We are indicating that the school has been provided with its final post provisioning norm, and the promotional posts, similarly to all other schools, are under consideration. I can just confirm to this important gathering that this afternoon, the acting administrator did sign off the advert for the school promotional posts. And then in terms of recommendation number 4, to ensure that the school received the necessary school transport for benefiting learners. And then we are indicating that we continue to engage with the Department of Transport, and a request for extra transport has been made in April 2022. We are still awaiting response from our sister department in that regard. Then we go into Tsidimusecho High School. It is a school in Joburton, in Klerksdorp, also in the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda district. The first recommendation was to ensure that the school is provided of the necessary toilets, ablution facilities as a matter of urgency. We are saying that the issue was fully addressed by providing 20 precast toilets. And in terms of Letlasedi Combined Farm School, we were to ensure that the school, as recommendation number 1, is prioritized for refurbishment, maintenance, and renovation. We are responding that the broken windows have already been repaired. The long grass within the school premises has been cut. The old pit latrine holes were filled up and leveled with soil, and the district has put the school on the list for major renovations for this current financial year. In terms of recommendation number 2, we were to ensure that the school is provided with extra classrooms as per the needs of the school. And then we are saying all fire extinguishers have been serviced. The department is looking for a service provider to train the teachers and the support staff and learners on the use of fire extinguishers. And then the need to provide extra classrooms will be considered as part of the normal processes of infrastructure provisioning. We are on recommendation number 3. We were to ensure that in collaboration with sister departments and relevant stakeholders, solutions to the transport challenges are found. The department is continuously liaising with the Department of Transport on the matter. Ikalafeng Special School is in Ikageng, in Potchefstroom, JB Max municipality, and recommendation number 1 was to ensure that the school vacancies is filled with immediate effect. We are responding that the vacancies were advertised, shortlisting and interviews have taken place. We are awaiting the process of appointment for the identified prospective candidates. In recommendation number 2, we were to ensure that inappropriate asbestos classrooms are replaced as per infrastructure project within adequate timeframes. 5 mobile classrooms have been ordered and will be delivered by the end of June 2022. The asbestos structures are prioritized for demolition and replacement of brick and mortar classrooms. We continue with Ikalafeng, recommendation number 3, ensure the school is prioritized for assistance with regards to the shortage of classrooms. And we are repeating basically the earlier response to indicate that we are giving attention, and then we are expecting delivery of the mobile classroom by the end of June. Recommendation 4 was to ensure that the replacement of the asbestos received priority. And we are indicating, as we have stated, that the brick and mortar will replace the asbestos facilities. And then in recommendation number 5, ensure that shortages of LTSM is procured and delivered. The LTSM funds were transferred directly to the school. The district consistently monitors their procurement of the relevant CAPS compliant LTSM, and then the district will monitor this process to ensure that those CAPS catalogs are adhered to. We're moving to a school called Ngarisam Primary School. It is in the municipality of Matlosana, Klerksdorp. Recommendation number 1, the department must ensure that the additional mobile classrooms are provided to the schools. We are indicating that 4 mobile classrooms have been procured, and we are awaiting for service providers just to deliver before end of June 2022. In recommendation number 2, in terms of learner transport, the department must ensure that transport services are provided. We are saying that a request for additional transport has been submitted to our sister department that is always assisting us in terms of our needs. And then in recommendation number 3, ensure that the mine social environment assessment issue is taken up by the district. And then we are saying that due to non-appointment of the quantity surveyor, we could not deploy someone for this exercise. However, this recommendation is still receiving attention, and we are hoping that by the end of June 2022, we shall have ensured that we get a quantity surveyor to handle the matter. In terms of recommendation number 4, we were to ensure that the department works with the community and other relevant organizations to address the issues of bullying and reported incidences of gangsterism. Our health and safety district official, in collaboration with the officials from SAPS and the Department of Social Development, is regularly conducting workshops to address issues of gangsterism. Yam Primary School is the other school that was visited. It is in Joveton, in the municipality of Matlosana. Recommendation number 1, we were to ensure that there is implementation of ICT policies, and we are indicating that the school needs to do follow-up of the company that installed their e-learning connectivity to repair functionality of the Wi-Fi. We continue to assist the school in checking the service providers. In recommendation number 2, we were to ensure that grade R class is accommodated in a conducive space or in a conducive classroom. We are saying we have provided a school of electrified mobile classrooms in April 2022, and the damaged structures at the school have been repaired, and the grade R class is accommodated now in an inviting environment. In recommendation number 3, we were to ensure that the school library is resourced. At the moment, we are still struggling because the school doesn't have a library, but we are hoping that as we continue to deliver the mobile classrooms, we will identify one of the classrooms and turn it into a library and assist with the resourcing thereof. In recommendation number 4, we ensure the need for school laboratory is addressed and that staff are capacitated for enhancement of science subjects and technology. The matter is we are responding that the matter is under consideration, and then implementation will be prioritized accordingly, taking into account the number of urgent projects which are in the pipeline. Then we go into the technical high school in the same area called, in the same area of Joveton. The school is called Kotekane. We were to mitigate dropout. The department needs to ensure that the strategy of the school to bring on board past successful learners to motivate others is implemented. We are responding that the principal is reporting to parents about learner performance, and regular home visits is encouraged, especially where chronic absenteeism is detected. In recommendation number 2, we were to ensure that psychosocial support and teacher well-being programs are implemented to address gangsterism. And we are responding to say there is a strong collaboration between Departments of Education, Social Development, and SAPS in dealing with common challenges that lead to learner dropout and also to gangsterism. And the district EAP was deployed to the school to address teachers on psychosocial challenges. We continue with Tokekani, and recommendation number 2 were to ensure that the district network the district reworks its school admission policy. The district, we are responding to say the district will strictly adhere to learner admission in accordance with the South African Schools Act 84 of 1996 as amended. And in recommendation number 4, the department was to do an analysis as what causes the drop from 200 to 93. And we are saying that an analysis of learner dropout has been conducted. Intervention measures include the following: regular meetings of the parents focusing on gangsterism, drugs and substance abuse, child-headed families and teenage pregnancy, and then affected learner referrals to social workers and seeking further support from local NGOs, SAPS, and the health department. That's all of the first district, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. If I'm allowed, I'm moving to the second district, which is Ngakamudiri Molema. And I will start first with the first school, which is Witanabe Technical Secondary School. It's in Mahikeng. We were to ensure that the school is prioritized for renovation. We are responding that the school has been prioritized for major renovation in 2022-23 financial year. And recommendation number 2 was to ensure that the school receives updated machinery and equipment for the workshops for the next 2 school calendar terms. And then we are saying that the school workshops have been prioritized for the delivery of requisite machinery and equipment through the 2022-23 MST conditional grant. In recommendation number 3, we were to consider how best to assist the school of connectivity. We are indicating that indeed the school does not have network challenges and it is able to communicate effectively through access to internet. And recommendation number 4, we were to review the PPN for the school and not be treated as an ordinary school because it is a technical high school. And then we are saying the department is working on the review of the school's PPN to meet the requirements for a technical school and to comply with the ratio of 1:15. Recommendation 5, we were to assist with the demolishing of burnt out buildings. The area, we are responding to say that the area has been barricaded to control access to the burnt out building, and the district has prioritized it for a possible renovation or the demolition of the building if we realize that we are not able to rebuild it. We then move to another school in Mahikeng, which is a special school in the Jobotlam, sorry, sir, Chair, which is Reclamation Special School. The recommendation number 1 was to ensure that the school acquired the necessary extra classrooms, which would include 6 special standardized classrooms and 5 specialized classrooms and middle work centers, physio room, dining hall, and kitchen. We are responding to say the district priority list is included in the district priority list and it's receiving attention. And this is done to address the challenge of overcrowding and shortage of classrooms. In terms of recommendation number 2, we were to ensure that the school has access to and employ the services of necessary psychologists, therapists, and social services. And then we are responding to say the posts of psychologists, occupational therapists, speech and audiologist therapists have been advertised in the local newspapers on the 20th of May 2022. And the recruitment and selection process is expected to be completed by the end of June. Then we move to Hoërskool Sannieshof. And then we are saying there in recommendation number 1, we were to ensure that the school is supplied with an extra teacher as requested. So we are saying that we have already provided 2 extra teachers to the school. And they also, the amended PPN did afford them that opportunity to increase the teacher teacher enrollment. In terms of recommendation number 2, we were to ensure that any funds due to the school was made available within adequate timeframes. And we are indicating that the Section 21 funds have been allocated to the school. If we continue to recommendation number 3, we are showing that the school be prioritized for assistance and support of the refurbishment for the second half of the school, as well as the replacement of the asbestos walls and roofing. The response from us is that the school has been prioritized for provisioning of workshops and the demolition of asbestos structures. Recommendation number 4 was that we should ensure that any shortage of textbooks was procured and delivered, and we are indicating that the next order of textbooks will be on the current procurement cycle. Recommendation number 5, we were to ensure that the school is supplied with extra chairs and tables. And then we are responding that the school will be provided with additional chairs and tables in the 2022-2023 financial year. Chairperson, we then move to Oversight Comprehensive School. The comprehensive school is a mega school in the Mahikeng area. We are indicating from in recommendation number 1 that DBE, PD, and school SMT, SGB should work together to ensure they deal decisively with issues for the education of the learners. We are responding that indeed the department led by the acting administrator and the Superintendent General held a meeting of the SGB and the SMT of the school on the 18th of January 22 to address the challenges facing the school. Since then, there is noticeable progress in dealing with most of the salient issues that impeded curriculum delivery in the school. And then recommendation number 2, the department needs to ensure that the new bus is acquired. And then we are responding to say that the procurement processes of a new minibus is at an advanced stage. In the meantime, the district has loaned out the school a minibus until this new one is procured. And then the outstanding funds for the 3rd, 4th quarters of the 2021-22 financial year, as well as that of the 1st quarter of the 22-23 financial year, have now been transferred to the school. A meeting was also held with the principal of the school on the 19th of April to provide guidance on development of a business plan for the 2022-23 financial year, and a system has been put in place to review and validate the implementation of the school's business plan. We then move to another special school in the Chobota area. It's called Retrofit Special School. We were to ensure that the school receives its PPN for 2022. The school has received its final amended PPN for 2022. We also to ensure that the SGB members are inducted, and we are saying that all members of the SGB have been inducted and trained on their roles and responsibilities as members of the SGB. In terms of recommendation number 3, we were to ensure that the prioritized dining hall plan is implemented as part of infrastructure. Then we are indicating that the school has been prioritized for provisioning of a dining hall. And then in recommendation number 4, we were to ensure that educators are capacitated on the integration of ICT in learning and teaching. We are showing that the training of ICT has been scheduled for the 2nd quarter in July 2022. Very far from the tap and really need water. Makwe Primary School is in the Chobota. And then we are indicating the recommendations. The first recommendation was that the department must ensure that the communication lines are improved and mistrust issues are cleared. The department must ensure that communication for intervention from the school SGB is addressed with proper responses. We are responding this way, that the advocacy has been conducted at the school. The SGB has been trained on their roles and responsibilities. The district in conjunction of DBE and DBE was led Honorable Deputy Minister by Rent Lebe. He came here and held a meeting of the SGB on the 7th of May, and he made of the following recommendations. Number 1, the SGB and principal were requested to work together. All members requested to be professional. The chairperson of the SGB was reminded that he doesn't have more powers than the other members of the SGB. And the SGB was requested to pay service providers owed by the school. The school was instructed to establish subcommittees before 13th of May. This we can report in this honorable meeting that it has been done. The handover must be done again by the previous SGB, and the two handover meetings were convened for the 12th and the 23rd of May 2022, but it did not materialize due to the poor turnout of former and current SGB members. The SGB must allow school-based grade R graduation ceremonies to take place. The SGB must agree on the fixed dates for meetings, and the SGB was requested not to frustrate programs intended to support and develop the learners. Recommendation number 3, the members recommended that the district director must meet with all parties. A plan is in place for the director to meet with the SGB and SMT of the school. The meeting did take place today. We obviously will have to update in terms of the progress after the director would have updated us in terms of how the proceedings unfolded today. In terms of recommendation number 4, the department to ensure that they intervene between the school management and the SGB. The district held an intervention meeting of the SGB on the 17th. The tension between the SGB and school principal, refusal to pay service providers, financial management responsibilities, and the filling of vacancies are the issues that were dealt with. Honorable Chair, I want to stop there, and if you agree, maybe hand back to the administrator and the Honorable MC. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is the presentation from Northwest. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Chair, can we make some few additions if you don't mind?
Oh, okay, it's fine.
Can I request the MEC to do so? Then I'll follow her if the chair allows.
Section 100. Thank you very much.
That's not me. That's not me. You must just watch next to your nose.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. Let me first start to appreciate, if not honestly, thanking Basic Education through Minister Motshekga for giving us a team of administrators. And I want to say to this far, the department have stabilized under the leadership of those administrators, particularly this one, Mr. Matthews. I want to also add, Chair, that if our projects couldn't have been affected by the preferential procurement regulations by Treasury, I think a number of projects could have been unfolded in a convincing way. And indeed, accordingly, we have applied as the department to the Minister of Basic Education. And as of now, we are presenting a report that says we are going to do the following issues because at least we have been given a green light to do that. But I think it's a matter that is going to be looked into broadly as government as to whether this issue of the PPR is not going to hold a number of projects moving forward. The other issue that I want to make an addition, because some of the schools that are in this report, Chair, they are having waterborne or VIP toilets. And in most cases, people used to mistaken these waterborne toilets to pit latrine toilets. And accordingly, these waterborne toilets have been approved in terms of the norms and standards. And also, we have been advised accordingly by the Department of Water and Sanitation to can use this type of sanitation, particularly in the far-flung areas where there's scarcity of water. Lastly, I want to comment on the issue of asbestos. We are having a plan as the Department of Education
And we have started to talk with the Treasury, and Treasury have advised us in terms of the companies as to who can deal with matters relating to asbestos in line of demolishing those asbestos in the Northwest province. So there's a plan, a very clear plan of the Department of Education in the Northwest moving forward as to how best are we going to demolish this asbestos, though we don't have so many schools, honestly, in the province. But I want to emphasize a fact that once this process is starting, Chairperson, I think there will be no school community around our schools, so that the process can unfold accordingly and also well in our schools. So that's the report in terms of the oversight visit in the Northwest Province. And that is how we have implemented the recommendations of the Portfolio Committee. Thank you very much.
Chair, do you allow Section 100 to come in?
Hey, we allow you, Section 100.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just two more points. MEC has read my minds about the 3 points she's actually raised. Just two more points, Chair. The first one relates to scholar transport. The honorable members will recall when they visited the province that we indicated that in terms of EXCOT decisions, scholar transport in the province is provided for by the Department of Transport and Roads. There's a court judgment, Chair, that the department actually I would put it as slept with, because there were serious procurement processes that the court found the department to be at fault about, and that court judgment is the one that is putting us in a limbo, because that department now has to get scholar transport on a month-on-month type of a basis, which of course even disadvantage the schools or learners that were identified as having qualified and were transported in the past, let alone those that were not included on the list that was considered by the department. So we are always invoiced and we pay those invoices as we're required to do so, but that arrangement is still a big challenge. The last one, Chair, relates to the critical post that the Portfolio Committee had directed that we fill as soon as possible, especially on the specialized professional ones, psychologists, occupational therapists, and the rest of them, as well as Chair filling the vacant substantive promotional posts. Chair, you'll recall again during that visitation we had indicated that the province was literally limping when it came to the compensation of employees' budget. In fact, that budget was really cooking. We're very fortunate this time around, Chairperson, that we got an additional amount of money from the Treasury to actually augment substantively so the compensation of employees' budget. That's why now, Chair, we're able to report to the committee that the shortage of these specialized posts, as well as promotional posts that we were faced with, or the vacancies that were a norm within the province, is soon going to be a thing of the past. As Dr. Mvula indicated earlier on, today I signed all promotional posts as well as specialized professional posts. I signed submissions and circulars for those posts to be advertised. Hopefully we'll be able to get to the people that have the requisite skills and the qualifications, especially for the specialized one, because it's an area that we took very seriously, Chairperson, to resource to the extent that they ought to be resourced because of the disadvantages those children actually find themselves in. The last point which I want to sneak in, Chairperson, you'll recall that what indicated when the committee wanted to know what is it we are doing to intervene on ICT provision. in preparing our learners in the province for the fourth industrial revolution. We can indicate that for special schools, we managed to procure state-of-the-art assistive devices for all types of prioritized difficulties to learning, the blind, the deaf, the ones that are regarded as severe and profound intellectual disability. We've procured for learners, not the schools, at which learners would then share those gadgets. We use the enrollments within those schools and prioritize those items. They are currently being customized. The ICTs, their hardware as well as software, for the children to be able to use as soon as possible. They are delivered, Chair. We can confirm that. Those that have not reached the schools are in the warehouse of the service provider. We can confirm that those gadgets have been populated with CAPS-related materials. We've also procured tablets for the mainstream FET band learners and laptops for educators within the. So we're getting there, we're competing with the top provinces when it comes to ICT provisioning. And I would want to challenge MEC Tate that we may be the best when it comes to ICT provisioning for learners with special educational needs. I thought, Chairperson, it was important that we add those 3 points plus the points that the MEC has raised, so that the portfolio committee has a broader picture about some of the things that we did that are not related to the schools that were identified by the honorable members of the portfolio committee. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Matthews. And thank you very much to everybody that has made presentations. Members, can I check is there anything from your side? Principal, I see your hand.
Can I get in my chair?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Studio for this opportunity. Indeed, let me start by saying we welcome and appreciate the presentation in the form of responding from Northwest. And something very encouraging, Chair, is the confidence. If you listened very carefully to the MEC, to the rapporteur, and also I think it was the HOD, the recent speaker. Behind every utterance, you could feel and touch the confidence, which tells us that we should be going somewhere. You see, of central importance when I listened here is that indeed they have attempted to implement quite a substantial number of recommendations as posed, though there will always be others which are process matter. However, Chairperson, of course, let me not zoom deep into that without recognizing the presence of the Department of Basic Education. Their accompaniment in moment like this is assisting. And of course, the entire contingent as introduced from Northwest. Also, Chairperson, importantly to be noted is the presence of the Free State, despite whatever we talked about. But their presence is worthwhile and must be highly appreciated. You see, I was still saying there are those which are the process matters, and being the process matter, all of them, if majority of them, if not all, have got one common denominator, and which is an area where they were not successfully able to put the time frames. You see, when you put the time frames, you are actually saying, come the next visit, you will find this having been done. So a strict time frame to be attached is something which will be able to assist this portfolio committee in their follow-up mission. For example, I've just only identified 3, and then maybe I should zoom into them as quickly as you see.
Principal,
yes, ma'am.
They are asking that we use our videos. We are live apparently on TV.
Okay. They want to see me. Hello. I've tried to switch on the video, but my face is not.
Yes, we can see you. You can proceed, Principal.
No, thank you very much. You see, the first point which I want to indicate, Chairperson, is where they talk about the slide that talks about the process of filling in vacant posts, and with special reference to the professional staff whose jobs or posts were declared to be vacant. And now the question is, what are the timelines of filling those vacant posts or professional staff whose jobs are declared to be vacant, and how many have to be filled, and also indicating by when? All this will assist us in our follow-up mission. The second one, also which will refer to the issue of the timelines, Modular 2, is on the issue of the water provision. We are all aware, as and when we visited a number of schools, Chair, that water challenge in majority of our schools, it's indebted. It's a very serious challenge that needs attention as of yesterday. The response talks of the challenge prioritized for 2022/23 financial year. Now the question that will come is, can the province kindly unpack to this portfolio committee how they will ensure the delivery of water, of course, by indicating the timelines again thereof. That is one thing very, very important. The last point is on the scholar transport. In response to this challenge, the department talks of a request that has been made as of last month in April, and thereby still awaiting for the response from the Department of Transport. We must appreciate, Chairperson, the collaboration that is being adhered to between the Department of Education and the Department of Transport. And the truth is, what we know, it's common knowledge that the predetermined norm, however, stands at 5 kilometers in between the scholar's home and the school. Now, the question that I would love to raise, Mona Mudula Stulukia, for those schools as identified, I think they should be having a record to that effect, as identified to be in need of the transport, scholar transport. What is the longest distance that learners are currently traveling in terms of kilometers? And because they are indicating that they are still waiting for the response from the Department of Transport, what interim measures is the department doing to address? I believe you will find that apart from this norm, predetermined norm of 5 kilos, you may find that they are learners traveling for more than 10 kilometers. And that would be criminal in essence. So while waiting for the response from the Department of Transport, what are the measures that are being, interim measures that are being done? You see, those are some of the 3 questions I wanted to pose, Chairperson. Let me give others chance and not consummate everything. I would be selfish. Thank you very much, Mududa Street.
Thank you, Principal. Honorable Ithia.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm just going to open. You can see, Mos, it's me there. It's not a ghost. My problem is network is not good. I felt I must just open it so that you can see that indeed it's me. I will request that I close it. I know that they've requested that we keep it on, but the bandwidth will be affected. It's been cutting me, taking me on and off. So I apologize for that. Let me just put it off. And good evening to everyone. Good evening, Chairperson, honorable members, and everyone. Good evening, the MEC. Good evening to Section 100, Ndate Matthews. Good evening to the team from the department, and everybody who's here with us and also watching from home. Well, Chair, I have very few questions, and maybe I must start with the comment. The comment was that MEC from the Northwest, we missed you when we came to the Northwest. We were told that you will join us at some point. You could not. At least with the team that I was doing, because we divided ourselves into 2 groups. But with the team that I was with, we did not see you. So I was hoping that maybe we will see you sometime, but we could not do so. Maybe next time when we visit, let's see the political leadership present leading the teams there. Chair, I think generally I'm impressed with the progress made since our January oversight visit to this province. When we were there, Chair, we were disappointed with how many problems we had there, from going to schools that had serious hygiene issues where it was generally dirty, the ground, but again, the floor had serious potholes in classrooms. In one school we went to towards Vennesdorp, in the rurals, we had food all over, surrounding the field that was spilled there. And we hope that those things are being attended to. The general hygiene of such places, such schools that we went to, at least they're being attended to. I was not impressed, Chair, when I was there, because the department officials were there with us. One of them after the meeting said to me, "No, Honorable Litsia, maybe you have not been to a farm school. This is how farm schools are." No. It can't be. I mean, when he did not know that the first principal post my mom had was in a farm school, and it was not that like that, So I hope that those things are being attended to. It can't be that want to subject our kids to such places, and we had raised it there that we believe that it was a problem of leadership at that particular school, Chair. When we arrived there, it was general chaos. Only the principal and I think one SGB member present, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember if there was any SMT person was present. The general chaos, you can tell that there was an absence of leadership. So we hope that over and above what we are being given here in writing, those things there, the touch and see are also happening in those schools. Now to my questions, Chair, when we were there, I was part of the team that went to the Northwest School for the Deaf, which few years or so months ago, I can't remember now, but there was some fire in that school, and the general problems. We had, when we were engaging with them, we said the department must engage with the Department of Health to consider prospective doctors or therapists that must be placed at that school, so that they can do their practical. So they must target those who are graduating from medical schools, and they must be placed in such schools for schools with special needs, and provide a much needed service to these schools within adequate timeframes, special schools according to their own targets were priorities. The department just responded that indeed they are in consultation with the Department of Health to address the question of rotational visits by professionals to Northwest Secondary School for the Deaf, which is good. It means they are responding to what we asked them to do, and I want to commend them for that. They also said the process for filling of vacant posts of professional staff had been prioritized for 2022-2023 financial year, as the compensation of employees' budget has been improved. As an interim measure, for consultation with the Department of Health will continue. Now, a question there is that what are the timelines of filling vacant posts of professional staff there? Which professional jobs in that school are vacant, and how many have been filled by when? That is a question there. And then on the same school again, we also said they must ensure all vacant posts at the schools to be filled as a matter of urgency. The principal and promotional posts, there was an acting principal at the time, the very new acting principal, because the previous principal, I think, had retired or had resigned in December, the previous, something like that. Further to this, the department to ensure that the school was provided with more interpreters as per the needs of the school. The school also be assisted with attracting and appointing suitably qualified educators. Their response is that the principal post has been duly filled now. That's what we're learning from them. And the submission on conversion of temporary educators to permanent substantive appointments have been approved by the acting administrator. Vacant posts of senior management were advertised at the beginning of the current financial year, meaning from 1 April. And the processes of filling the post of 1 deputy principal and 3 HODs is currently underway. And if appropriately qualified and experienced prospects are found, appointments to be effected before end of May 22. Now today, Chair, today is the 24th, which is what we're only left with this week. Next week or so it will be June. Now the question there is that were appropriately qualified and experienced prospects were they found, because we're only left with this week or about 6 or 7 days in the week. So that is the question on that thing, on that response. On the same school, you must ensure that in collaboration with the municipality, there was a borehole that was connected to the municipality or municipal supply, water supply within 90 days of adoption of this report. Their response here, Chair, they are reminding us that the basic education is a concurrent function between the national and the provincial spheres of government, and local government is approach on functions that are related to their normal constitutional responsibilities and all of that. So they are just reminding us here that I see a responsibility. Now, my question there is that when kids are at school, they become our responsibility. How will the department ensure delivery of water, and what are the timelines in that regard, in that school of Northwest School for the Deaf? And I think that is all from that school. I do have two for Makwasi Hills Secondary School. We said they must ensure that the school was assisted with filling of posts of principal and the 2 departmental heads within the 90 days of the adoption of the report. And their response is that the school has been provided with its final post-provisioning norm and the promotional posts, similarly to all other schools, and they're under consideration. Now, the question there, Chair, is that are those posts filled final post-provisional norms and the promotional post field, if no, what are the timelines? So those ones that we said they must fill. And then 2, we also said they must ensure that the school receives the necessary scholar transport for benefiting learners as per the needs of the school. You'll remember here, Chair, that school is the only English teaching school in the area. And everybody was flocking there from surrounding areas. Therefore, at the time, I think there was a problem of scholar transport there. So that is how we resolve with them here, given that background. Now, their response that the request for extra transport was made in April this year to the Department of Transport, and they are still waiting for a response from that department. What should, however, be considered is whether the distance of the learners travel meet the predetermined norm of a minimum of 5 kilometers. That's what they are saying. When we're there, Chair, the principal, a very young fellow, principal, energetic with his team, they did indicate that indeed the learners, they would travel there, carry lift and all of that from far. And so they must indeed, at this stage, I think the answer which we would have expected from Northwest would have been that out of 900 learners that we checked, if they qualify for transport, we found out 200 are below 5 kilometers, because clearly that's the information they should have, because they made a request to the Department of Transport at the beginning of last month, the beginning of April, meaning you can't make a request without at least having a sense of what numbers that you have will need the transport. So maybe even in writing, Chair, they can just send us in writing within 7 days the number of learners or that report or that memo they used in requesting transport from the Department of Transport on this one. And then on Sedimoso, I don't have anything. I only have one on the Tlasedi Combined Farm School. We said that they must ensure that in collaboration with sister departments and relevant stakeholders, solutions to the transport challenges are found within 60 days of the adoption of this report. Their response is that they are in liaison with the Department of Transport on this matter, And can they just tell us what is the progress so far on that, as far as that is concerned, noting that we're almost halfway through of the year. It means the first semester is done and dusted. Then the last two questions, no, maybe not, but the last few questions, we have one in Ikalafing Special School that we had said they must ensure that shortages of LTSM is procured and delivered. Their response is that LTSM funds were transferred directly to the school, and they assured the district to procure the relevant CAPS catalog. The district will monitor this process to ensure that those CAPS catalog is adhered to. The question there is that has LTSM been procured by the school? Does the school have any shortages as far as this is concerned on that part? And lastly, on this Ikala thing, we had said they must ensure that the school is provided with subject specialists to assist with curriculum-related matters as requested. Their response is that so far teaching and learning continues uninterrupted. The department has contingency measures in place to deal with some of the identified challenges that may militate against schooling in the province. The department has, has received additional allocation to the compensation budget. This will enable the department to fill vacant school-based promotional posts. My question there is that what are the timelines for the appointment, and when will the department conclude the promotions? And then Nkari-san, Chair, you'll just indicate if you think I've taken long, because I've got too many questions. Nkari-san Primary School, in terms of learner transport, the department must ensure that transport services are provided to the learners. That was our resolve. Their response was that the request for additional transport was submitted to the Department of Transport, and they got a response that the current problem is budget from the Department of Transport. However, this is their response. However, we hope to get extra buses when we close the Greylandsreg Primary School in June this year. And then my question is, what is the actual progress with the Department of Transport, and what is the committed increase of transport? So they must just tell us that. And then lastly, on that school, we said they must ensure that the department is working with the community and other relevant organizations to address the issue of bullying in schools and other reported incidences of gangsterism. The response was that our health and safety district official is constantly conducting workshops to address issues of gangsterism. The officials working with SAPS and the Department of Social Department. My question there is, how often do these workshops take place, and what are the targets, and what is the progress so far in terms of winning our battle against gangsterism and bullying in the schools? Then in Tiang Primary School, we had said they must ensure that there's implementation of ICT policies, that there is implementation of ICT policies that is enforced. The response is that the school needs to do follow up with the company that installed e-learning connectivity to come and repair or assure fully functionality of Wi-Fi. My question there, Chair, is what actions, what action has the school undertaken, taking the period into consideration? How is the department monitoring this intervention? Because I don't think we must just say, no, school, let's allow them to deal with them. If there's no capacity to deal with them, I think the department must then enter there. So that is why I'm asking that question. And then we said we must ensure schools' library is resourced to enhance more reading skills. The response is that there's no library at Young Primary School. The question that I think, Chair, when they were dealing with this one, now in the presentation, I might have lost connectivity just a little bit. And I apologize if I'm going to ask something that they've already covered, because as I said, my network was giving me problems. So my question is, what programs does the department have in developing libraries, and how many are developed annually here? Maybe with Department of Sports, Recreation, Art and Culture and all of that, they can just inform us. And then maybe the last question, Chair, is you know, even when we were at this school, I struggled to pronounce the name of this school, Chair. It's I think it should be Kokekani Technical High. So my question there was, we had said we had resolved that we must ensure that the district rework its school admission policy in terms of the zoning issues. The response is that the district will strictly adhere to learner admission in accordance with the South African Act number 84 of 1996 as amended in order to address the recommendation. Now, my question is, what actions have been undertaken to correct this situation, and when will the revised admission policy be completed? The Chair, I think in the interest of time and the interest, sorry, of giving other members, even the department, at least they've been listening to my voice for too long. I think I must end here. Thank you very much, Chair. As you can see, it's still me. I have not changed, just in case you might think it's not me. Thank you very much.
With a new hairstyle. Thank you, Honorable Letsie. Honorable Suela.
Thank you, Chairperson. There is load shedding. I'm in the dark, so it helped open the video anyway. That the province of North West have taken to address the recommendations of the portfolio committee. However, Chair, I've got two questions probably that I would like to ask. One is with regard to Ikalafeng Special School, where we're talking about the vacancies, and the response there is that they were advertised, shortlisting has been done, and even interviews took place. They are just awaiting the processing of appointments of identified prospective candidates. My question is therefore, how long are they going to wait for that? In fact, I need a time frame to say this is expected to be completed by this time, just like what I said in the next one, where you see 5 mobile classrooms ordered and will be delivered by the end of June. So there is a date there. Probably even in the first one, it will be better if they indicated a date as well. The second question is with regard to Kafesang Primary School. Ensure that the mine social environment assessment issue is taken up by the district. Now the response says, due to non-appointment of the quantity surveyor, we could not deploy someone for this exercise. However, this recommendation will be fulfilled on or before the end of June, since they have not appointed a quantity surveyor, which make them to fail to deal with that. So how are they going to address that by the end of June, because a quantity surveyor has not been appointed? Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Suela, and thank you very much to as well. I've got just a few issues myself, probably to thank the province also for following up on what you have recommended and respond swiftly in many schools. But I am well, one must say that we are grateful that you have managed to respond. But I'm sitting here, I'm asking myself that, obvious, your response has, there are cost implications in it. And how have you dealt with issues of sourcing funding to respond to many of those issues, like the issue of renovations in schools, the issues of cutting grasses, and many things that you have done, which I think, as the committee, I think we must say we are very grateful that you have managed to do that. And how long did it take you from when we have left in January to now, which is May? How long did you take to resolve these issues? I know it's just 2 districts that we are now referring to, and also it's not many schools, it's just few schools that we have managed to go to. What I'm trying to raise here is that you have proven to us that you can be able actually to respond to issues very quickly if you, because I don't want to be tempted to say that you have responded because you are coming to us and therefore you want to put a very rosy picture to us as the portfolio committee, and then tomorrow then you don't really worry what will happen. There is just one school here that caught my eye, and it caught my eye even when you were in the oversight in January, which is Mahwe Primary School. And people who were with us in that school would recall that there were a lot of issues there, with the tensions between the SGB and the SMT. Actually, there was nothing that was happening there in that school because the SMT, particularly the principal, could not take decisions. I know you even mentioned now in your presentation that when we were there, then service providers were not paid. Even today, it looks like they still not paid. And I'm not sure whether I read incorrectly. Looks like the district director only went to the school today since we left in January then. And there are serious issues in that school. There are serious issues between the SGB and the SMT in that Mahwe Primary School. Our meeting never started well and it never ended well. Some of you who are in the meeting would recall what has happened there that day. And what is the situation? Because I'm fearing a situation that even the DTE could have only went there because of the issues that we have raised as the committee. Otherwise, ordinarily, it was not going to be the case. Meanwhile, many things cannot be approved. The lives of the children, nothing can be processed till the SGB feels like it needs to be processed, and the SGB must approve itself. The principal is there, but the principal cannot take any decision. There were serious issues of power struggle and people fighting for who needs to run the school and how the school must be run. And we even left there without being able to resolve the issues that were in that school. But with that as it may, I think you have done so well from the province to respond to our recommendations. I don't know if we were to be on the ground tomorrow and be in Northwest, the picture you are putting to us now, will it be the same? Will it be the same picture when we must experience it ourselves? But as for what we hear now and what we have seen then, one is convinced that there is serious improvement. In the absence of hands, then I am going to give, I think, the DM to lead the responses, and then of course later the province to respond. Thank you very much, DM.
Chair, thank you very much. We appreciate the comments and the questions. I don't know, because in Northwest, there's a load shedding. MEC wrote on the screen here, I was reading now, that there's load shedding, and the administrator also wrote to my phone. I don't know who's remaining from Northwest can give clear responses. If the MEC or any other senior official from Northwest is still in the meeting, can you please try to come in with the permission of the chair, of course.
Thank you very much, DM. But honestly, let me appreciate also all the honorable members who have made their concerns, and also appreciated the manner in which you have structured this report. However, DM, I have just written in the group, in the chat, that I can't even see a single word that I've written right now. Remote load shedding as I speak. But I think all of us, Team Education from the Northwest that is here, has been noting number of issues. And the like, because there are other issues that I think I must respond to. Number one is the issue of a filling of vacant posts. Honorable members, what I can say, all the office-based promotional posts, this will include your circuit managers and also some of your advisors. Those posts have been advertised, and there's been an appointment, and the circuit managers and some of the subject advisors have been appointed. And on the issue of school-based promotional posts, the HOD have, I think last week, signed off a document to the accounting officer, who is Mr. Matthews, so that they can sign off for the advertisements, because indeed we would want to see our schools across the province having people who can account accordingly for our schools. There was also an issue on water, though the matter is also been asked by honorable member Honorary Nekile Kokai. I missed all of you, I must say also. However, there were mixed signals during that period. And I think during our Lekgotla, I spoke to the chair, who further said to me, but I think in the next visit, you will be there, given the confusions and the mixed signals that you got at that stage. And the chair further said, it will be very important in most cases that you appear as the MEC, so that we interact with you on the spot. So I missed all of you, Chairperson and honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. I think the water provision issue, the way we have captured it, I think for us, At the time of capturing, we felt it is okay, honorable members. However, our schools in the Northwest province, where the municipality cannot provide water, most of our schools are having boreholes. We have done that on our own so that at least in all our schools, we are having water. Beyond this, I don't see anything except maybe the school of the Northwest, the Northwest School of Deaf. We have learned from a difficult time, a very hard lesson. Honestly, I remember it was in 2014, when we lost 4 of our learners who are deaf at this school. Immediately thereafter, we called a meeting at Orkney Liar School. We took a number of decisions. Number one, we said in that meeting, let us have the security in all our special schools. Number two, we said, let us look into all our schools and provide all the necessities for all these learners with special needs. And if I speak, Honorable Chair, that is exactly what we are doing in our province. However, the little that we have done to this far doesn't really say other issues that have been recommended by the portfolio committee are not supposed to be attended to. So I am here with the acting HOD and the acting administrator. I think, given to it that I don't see anything right now, they will assist me in responding to the issues that have been raised by honorable members of the portfolio committee, including the chairperson of the PC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DM and MEC. Honorable Chair, as the MEC has indicated, we lost most of the inputs that were made by the honorable members. We took some notes for those that we could. We are going to request Mr. Brown to favor us with the recording because the meeting is recorded, so that we can respond to most of the issues that were raised by the honorable members. I like the recommendation, or yes, it was a recommendation made by one honorable member saying we've got to attempt to respond within 7 days. And after that, we just got lost completely. We didn't hear anything. I came in at the time the chairperson was raising some of questions towards the end of input. I don't even know how long it was. But we will attempt, Chair, to respond to those questions. I want to latch into what the MEC was saying pertaining to boreholes. Honorable members will recall that boreholes are literally dug because there's no other option to get water provisioning within a school. In some cases, because you'll recall, honorable members, that Northwest is a mine type of a province. You will find water underground, but when you do the tests, you find that that water is not appropriate for human consumption. Or in some cases, when you begin with a project, you bore a hole, you find some water. When you've got to do, the connections to the tank, there's no water coming out. There are lots of dynamics that we're faced with within the Northwest. The Honorable MEC was correct to say where there's piping that comes from municipal supply, of course, was supplied by that. In other cases, the municipalities would assist us with tanks transporting water to the schools. So there are a variety of attempts that we actually make to ensure that schools are provided with water. But MEC is correct to say where we do the boreholes. Those boreholes are done by the department itself. The other area that I think it was even raised by the first honorable member or principal relating to the appointments and timelines. It's difficult to give timelines when you do adverts. First, let's apologize to the honorable members that the adverts didn't get out at the time we expected them to come out. You'll recall I did report at the meeting that we have a problem with the compensation of employees budget. And we could not advertise nor do anything relating to vacant posts until the money was released by the provincial treasurer. We may say the year begins on the 1st of April, but it doesn't translate to the money being made available immediately on the 1st of April. What would have would be paper money. And we have to work on that type of a paper budget for us to be, doing whatever that needs to be done within the province. The other issue relating to those promotional posts, what we were provided with, I'm talking about the HOD and myself, was a long list of vacancies that were established as far back as 2019. And we instructed that the colleagues should actually do an audit. One, as to whether those posts are still substantive, whether there is a need for us to actually go ahead and advertise for those posts. In fact, there were adverts that were put up, there were big files that were faced with honorable chair and honorable members that we must just do, a short listing from those files. Colleagues did not even indicate whether those people are still available, whether some of them might have not passed on, and all that kind of stuff. We then asked them to do a due diligence of what was there. In some cases, we decided to re-advertise. In some cases, by stroke of luck, we managed to get the people that were recommended as incumbents to take up those posts. In a few of them, in particular, were the specialized professional posts. We did indicate that those in the main were psychologists, the therapists, and the interpreters, where they are actually required. In some cases, Chair, when we made the offer, you find that that person would have taken appointment elsewhere, either at the similar level, or they just assumed, the responsibility of doing the work that they are appointed at different levels of the education system. So the issue that we wanted to be very sure about is what the allocation was going to be. The amount that it was going to be, because it would have been an error of judgment on our part to advertise for posts, and the next thing you don't fill them out. You'll remember, Chair, the unions raised an issue about that we have this habit of advertising posts and then withdraw those adverts because we don't have the capacity to resource those posts as we would want them to. So we wanted to be sure what was appearing as the paper budget would actually be allocated as real runs and cents for us to be able to do the right and the sensible thing within the province. Chair, the school that you raised about, it's quite a challenge. It's not the only school. There are lots of such similar schools within the province. In fact, some of them are even these mega farm schools that were faced with where the relationship between governance and management seemed to be severely, literally severely broken. And Dr. Mvula is the head of the district and governance branch. I saw Mrs. Mukutla here, the chief director from the same branch, was responsible for district coordination. I don't see them now, Honorable Chair. I don't know whether they're still here. We do our level best to try to normalize the situation within the schools. There is a tension between governance and management. A part of the tension arises from a noble decision that the province had taken to assign all schools as Section 21 schools in terms of the size. Now, some principals, you would know, Chairperson, want to control everything, including powers that in law they do not have. So there are tensions about who controls the purse of the school, particularly so that the schools are Section 21. Principals want to be entering that space. In some cases, you find strange anomalies that we are currently investigating in some of the schools. It may not be the schools that we visited, where the SGB minister would have, I think some time ago, have made an illustration that come the end of the month or the time at which we transfer, the tranches to the school. Service providers are lining out there, you know, expecting to get these businesses out of the schools. In some cases, these are not friendly types of interactions because these guys, especially the business forums, they seem to think that they have a right to access whatever funds schools have, and they would want to impose on the schools about the services they provide, and tensions arise. And when you procure a service provider who's not part of that business forum, who may be coming from the same province, there's a tension because that business forum would not allow those service providers to do the work they are appointed for. So the one of Makwe Chair is definitely a process. It's not a once-off type of a thing. The visit by the director is for a specific purpose, because we had agreed on a process to deal with that matter. You cannot win normalizing that school in a day or two. I think we're fortunate with Khuputsa Tiro because of the level of maturity we found, especially from the management team there. And unfortunately, you find an SGB with a capable senior management team, an SGB that doesn't know their main functions. When I raised the question, do you know your main functions? When I asked about determination of a lot, they didn't know that. Determination or financial management, they seem to get C about that. It appears that the principal is assisting them to do that work with the assistance of the management team. But there was cordiality there, and the environment was conducive for teaching and learning at that school. It's not as is the case with Makwe. And what is even more worrisome with Makwe, Honorable Chair, that school is a primary school. So these things that the committee had raised and the chair is amplifying now are actually serious matters that would need any muscle and any brain that we can find to go and create peace within that school, create a cordial type of an environment, and bring the culture of learning and teaching. Of course, it will not exist unless there's proper governance that is cordial with the senior management team that we find there. The last point that I would wish to raise, Chair, I hope Chair will agree that we then submit our response in writing, but because we have missed most of the issues that were raised by the Chair, by the members, we will really request the chairperson to extend that period. Maybe 7 days may not be enough to respond, because we've got to decipher or get the information from the tape Mr. Brown will favor us with, and that may take some time. But the last point that I wanted to raise, Chair, relates to the mega farm schools. You'll recall, as Dr. Mvula had indicated, Khuputsa Tiro is one of those mega farm schools. When we got there, those schools tend to have expectations which are not clarified. At Khuputsa Tiro, then we took a bold decision, Chair, that we need to understand the concept of establishing those mega schools. It's a very noble concept. We know that Free State learned from us as to how to put these mega farm schools. I guess in the Free State, they are maybe better operational than we have in the province. We then agreed, Chair, that we'll need to dig for that concept document that we put together at the time. MEC Tsilapet was still the executive authority within the department. Remove the dust, refine that document, ensure that these mega schools are intended to be what they are. The catch with these mega schools, Chair, you are speaking about a community of the most disadvantaged children that you can ever speak about. For them, schools provide the hope that South Africa yearns for in terms of its constitutional pronouncements. There is nothing else that they would want to be exposed to. Those that take schooling that seriously, that through schooling, they would want to create a different life and different prospects for them into the future. It's a matter that would need to, if it needs to be reconceptualized or strengthened or repositioned in one way or the other. Because some of the things that were requested by the school appear that they were not part and parcel of what was envisaged in putting farm schools together. When you raise the question, if you don't provide them with the types of children that those schools are accommodating, where do you think that they'll be able to get those resources to at least emulate normality in mainstream schools that they are not? So those schools are like social services that the department should be able to provide. We've got to provide the basics for humankind, basics, especially for the girl children. If we don't start from scratch, affirming them as human beings first, for them to be able to enter into the learning space, I don't think we'll be able to succeed. So we have a great honorable chair and honorable members, DM, honorable DM and honorable MC, to dig for that concept document, because it was a noble thought that I think the province has entered into, but we're not talking that much about it. And there are certain things that we might have agreed at conception to do that we're not doing. And of course, that will need to even review the funding model that we have in those schools. So the issue for us is not only about technical schools. In the main, if you were to ask me about a priority list, I'll put these mega schools on top of that list because of the vulnerability that we're faced with in that community. The other issues the honorable members had raised, will mind them from the recording and respond accordingly. I hope the honorable chairperson and the members will accept that intervention. As MEC had said, we're disadvantaged because of loss of connectivity due to ESCO. Let me just say ESCO. Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you very much, DM. I'm not sure whether Dr. Mvula is here or not, but as I'm saying, the commitment we're making will respond in writing. Chair, we didn't do a thumbs up. We would want to table in this committee because of the level at which we take this committee seriously, that we can't come and fabricate things that we haven't done. We can assure you that these things that we're reporting here, we've done. And we'll try by all means to zoom into the dates that the honorable members, where it's practicably possible, to communicate those dates. Where it isn't, we'll also articulate that type of a view so that the members at least have some comfort zone about what we're presenting to the committee. Yeah, which, as I was saying, resembles the truth to the extent that we can express to the committee. Thank you very much, Chair.
Mr. Mvula, are you in the meeting?
Good evening, Chair. I am in the meeting, Chair. I think after my honorable MEC and the DM and the administrator have spoken, I can just indicate just one thing to confirm what they have said in terms of processes that already started. And then when we were to respond, I'm struggling with the system because we are used to the group, to the team one. I wanted just to attach this just to show you that indeed as early as March, we had already started with the advertisements for the therapists. So I also have it here, but I now don't know what happened because earlier it was very easy for me to upload. So I just don't know now. But then it has been covered, Chair, because we just really wanted to confirm that indeed we had already started the processes and the other processes were just to update for the sake of this meeting, but we were there. And then as the administrator has indicated, I also struggled to pick up many of the things indicated by the honorable members due to the same situation of the load shedding the site. But we will definitely respond in terms of in black and white to ensure that we capture almost everything that the honorable members have raised. In the issues of water that was raised, in many areas, especially in the Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, when the school is having a problem of water, is largely due to the infrastructure of the municipality. So in many instances, when the community has got no problems with the water, many of our schools in that area will not have problems at all. And where we are struggling, we do have the tankers, and we are succeeding to get even the support of the municipalities. Thank you, Chair. I think I don't want to spoil what the MC and the administrator have already said.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Mvula. It's fine then. I think let's agree that we are going to allow you to respond to the questions that you did not get due to load shedding, and we will get those responses in writing. And thank you very much once more for the responses. I think then we have come to the end of this session. Of course, closing it by saying that we are going to find a slot for the Free State Province, and we are going to inform them on time so that they also come and respond on our recommendations, together with the other two provinces that are outstanding, which is Northern Cape and Western Cape. I think, yeah, it's Northern Cape and Western Cape. So thank you very much, DM. Thank you very much to both MECs and officials in provinces. Thank you very much to DP officials that were part of the meeting. And thank you very much to the members. I know you must be very tired. And I must thank everybody for being part of these meetings, for the last 3 meetings that we held them at a very awkward time at night due to many plenaries that the Parliament is busy running. But like we have said, that we are going to go to our normal schedule from next week, Tuesday, which is 9:30 in the morning. And we are going to proceed by our program as we have planned it for this particular content. At this moment, then, I am going to release the department and release 2 provinces so that we are left as members to deal with issues of the committee. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, DM.
Llewellyn, you can flight the minutes for us. These are the minutes where we had, they are the minutes of the 10th of May, where we had a meeting on Zoom. We had an engagement with Kagiso Trust, and we were briefed also by the DBE on their school infrastructure, ACD and SAFE programs. Page 1 is the attendance of the members and the officials from DBE and Kagiso Trust, and then parliamentary staff. And then we opened the meeting. And then we had a briefing from Kagiso Trust, which was done by Mr. Mula. And then we had a briefing from DBE, which was done by Mr. Van der Westhuizen. And then those were the observations and questions which were done by the to the department. And those were questions and observations that were done to Kagiso Trust. And then they responded. It's Kagiso Trust that has responded, which was Mr. Mula who was leading the responses. And the department was responded as well, which were led by Mr. Van der Westhuizen. And we concluded the meeting by thanking everybody that was in the meeting. And then we have considered and adopted the minutes of the 3rd of May. And then we have adjourned the meeting at 8:27. Any corrections? In the absence of corrections, can we then adopt the minutes as a true reflection? Adoption of minutes, members.
I move for the adoption as a true reflection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any seconder?
Chair, I second.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rosuela. Members, then this brings us to the end of the meeting of today. The meeting is adjourned.
Person, I'm so sorry. We've got last week's set, which I've got on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, my apologies, members. My apologies. Really, we've got the minutes of the 17th then of May, which we got the briefing from the Department on Math Science and Technology Strategies and Interventions. Page 1 is attendance of members and officials and delegation from the department and the parliamentary staff. We opened the meeting, and then the department was led by the Deputy Minister. And then we had a presentation by DBE on Maths, Science and Technology, which was done by Mr. Tlawane. And the MST teacher development was done by Mr. Rabutabi. Those were the observations and observations and comments from the committee members. And then those were responses which were led by Mr. Tlawane and Mr. Rabutabi and Dr. Whittle, and then DM, Dr. Mhaula, and then we have concluded the meeting by considered the minutes of the previous meeting, and then we adjourned this particular meeting at 19 minutes past 9. Those are the minutes, members. Can we get corrections if there are members that would want to?
Chair.
Yes, that is Honorable Tia.
It's not the corrections on the minutes, it's the correction on what you've said on the consideration of draft minutes. You said we considered the minutes, but the minutes are saying due to time constraint, we're unable to consider them. And with that small arrangement, I then move for the adoption as they are.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Litsi. Any seconder?
Chair, I second.
Let's take Ma van der Walt.
Doesn't matter.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much for seconding. Are we done now, Mr. Brown?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson.
Okay. So like we have said, thank you very much, honorable members, and good night.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, Honorable Litsi?
Yes, it's my good night message. I was just saying, let's not forget the study tour, please. Thank you.
Let's allow one of these days to get everything how far they are.
Yes, please. It must not be late in the year, man. Before September, preferably.